Good morning. Welcome to another Kerfuffle.
Oh.
Well, that's it. End of a different Kerfuffle. It's another Kerfuffle webinar, and I am delighted to have the wonderful people that we've got on screen around me. Mark from Love2Move. How the devil are you, sir? You okay?
Excellent. Thank you, Simon. How are you?
Perfect as ever. Obviously smiling. Vaccines in the background, pubs opening, football grounds in tier 2 areas, including Liverpool, all brilliant. So yeah, I'm in a good place. Jamie and David from the I Am Property Goliath. How the devil are you?
Tier 3. We're tier 3, so we're no problems, none of that.
No, you've only got yourselves to blame, basically. You know, you've got slap on the wrist if you've been naughty and everything else. Good, but you're isolating and you're looking good. You actually got a bit of a Fritzl chamber going on there, Jamie. I think that's.
Yeah, I get a lot of comments about this.
That looks very secure, as they say. Right, enough of that.
Simon.
I told you, go on Watkins' show if you want professionalism. This is very different. Right, obviously, great announcement. This is all about talking about the partnership between you two companies. We'll go into that a little bit more detail there. Industry out and pieing everywhere about the tie-up. Do you want to just give us a bit of context about it, where it started and what the thinking was? Mark, do you want to just kick us off with that?
Yeah, absolutely. So at Love2Move, we work with agents to allow them to offer a fixed fee selling platform. And it's been sort of in the pipeline for quite a while, this internally, in that we talk to agents about offering their clients 3 ways to sell. So our way is the pay up front model, the fixed fee, sort of the budget cost, their traditional percentage fee payable on completion, and auction service for those types of clients who are motivated to sell quickly and to have fixed timescales. So we've been talking about the 3 ways to sell for quite a while, and we have been offering auction from various different providers, but never really had sort of fantastic service and the tie-up that we've now got with Iamsold. So it was David that came to see us probably early this year, I think it was, David. And we were just really impressed with Iamsold, the size of them. They are obviously the market leading provider, and just the access to the training and the tech. And they've really got on board with talking about this 3 ways to sell and offering clients choice when selling the house. So it was just a very natural type. I think we've got a lot in common, and it's a fantastic business for us to be working with. So we're very pleased that we've been able to announce it this week.
Fantastic. And look, it's been a complete I Am Property loving, because we obviously had Jordan on this week as well talking about it. We were stressing on that interview as well that you've been so good on the service side of things, Jamie and David, haven't you? But actually underpinning all of that as well is the technical skill set and resources of the company, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the combination of the two that we see as the perfect. The perfect combination for success, to support agents, and to support agents in turn giving more choice to their clients. So it's our ethos. We want auction to grow. We think that every agent should be offering auction as a core service so that they can give choice to the consumer. And with Love2Move and what Mark's goals and objectives are with the business, it's a really good tie-up, a really natural fit, where he takes that one step further and gives that additional option to the seller, so that it's not just private treaty, it's private treaty on an online basis, and also bringing in together then the addition of the auction offerings that we can bring. It's a really good combination, something we're quite excited about.
It's all about options. We are giving everybody more options here, which can only be a good thing, surely, can't it?
Fundamentally, that's it.
I think from a listing perspective, if you can go out with options that will suit a variety of vendors depending on their circumstances and how they want to sell, then you've got a far higher chance of getting the listing. So it makes absolute sense.
Excellent. How does it work in practice with your members? How do they get to find out about it? Do they need to talk to their account managers? What's going to be the optimal way for your Iamsold and I Am Property clients working with Mark?
It's much the same as a standard service in terms of what we do, setting up the department, going through what they want from it, going through the training, going through the technology, getting them fully set up with all the marketing materials that they need and the team to support them. So that's why it's a really good fit for us, because it's our bread and butter, I suppose, Dave. It's probably the right phrase to put it. It's what we do and it's what we're good at. So it allows Mark to do what he needs to do by just bolting on with us in the right way.
Excellent. And so, okay, Mark, and so, how has it been received so far? Obviously, the story launched this week. Has there been a lot of interest in it so far?
Yeah, so we've got our own network of agents, not the size of Iamsold, obviously, but we've been talking to them about their sort of auction providers, and we do encourage the agents that we work with to offer the full 3 methods rather than just 2. So they're very receptive to the auction and having that plug-in, and it's been quite well received in the industry. I think this week, obviously, this is great timing because it was just announced yesterday, so we've already had contact with a few Iamsold members, but really keen to speak to more and promote that into the future.
So if I don't know anything about sort of either of your companies at the moment, how would you elevate a pitch? Explain to me the benefits you feel you're going to be able to give that agent.
So it's really simple, really straightforward. It's about generating additional revenue without any additional costs and without diluting your existing business model.
Yeah. And that's a really nice feature, isn't it? As you said, without any extra cost, because we're all on the back of a market that people frankly wouldn't have believed if you'd offered it to them back in May or June, would we? But it can't roll on forever, and there will be a challenge at some stage in the marketplace there, won't it? And it's a key there is that's the very time you don't want to be layering costs on top. So to have solutions like this that again can offer additional routes to market and indeed additional revenue streams can only be a really good thing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, look, we're in a weird market right now where it's booming, and it's going to probably keep going as people rush for the stamp duty deadline on the 31st. But that doesn't mean that there's not vendors out there that want speed and security that can come from an auction perspective. I think from an agent's view, having a relationship with Iamsold, with Love2Move or on its own, it gives the agent the ability, free of charge, to expand their services overnight, and that is critical in this market, critical in any market, to have more ways to win, which is which is the ethos that is very similar to within Iamsold and with Love2Move, so that's why it works really well as a partnership. But critically, one of the key things for an agent is that route to cash. It's the biggest challenge out there for every single agent that I speak to. Simon, you live in webinars with agents on a daily basis. I'm sure you hear it more than most, the challenge of getting that converted transaction through to cash. So with auction, we can pay you within 7 days of the deal being closed. That in itself is a game changer for any size of business, especially with Mark's independent target audience. It's a huge win to have that in their arsenal and have that cash generation coming with such ease.
Yeah. Well, you're quite right. We're having a panel show about it this afternoon again, aren't we? Just to look at the stickiness of what's going on, the stodginess of these pipelines. What is there you can possibly do? We've obviously got, one of the few things you can control yourself is by delivering on processes in the system like this.
For sure.
Yeah, the other thing I was going to say, Simon, as well, it's the support side that I think is really important. So from both sides of the fence, really. So white label service in the background, we can do pretty much the vast majority of the work for the agent, making sure that we get everything done as it should, and obviously reducing fall throughs as well, which I think will become more and more relevant as we go into next year. The pressure will come on the market, and we've got that security that private treaty can struggle with.
That's absolutely a nail on the head there, David. And what do you think in terms of the ultimate impact this can have on agents' businesses?
I think it's, from each agent to each agent, how far they want to go with it. I mean, from our perspective, when we look at the onboarding process we have that gives them the ability to make this an absolute offering alongside every private treaty pitch. For the right motivated vendor, I think it's an instruction winner for a start. So it will allow agents to get properties on the market that otherwise they might have lost. It allows them to retain their stock far better. We know that vendors' circumstances will change overnight, and this gives them something different to talk about once a vendor's on board. So it can be a huge amount, and we've got agents where this is a massively important part of their income stream, and the partnership works perfectly on both sides.
Excellent. I just think that what you've got now, isn't it, is you really haven't got an excuse not to be invited out with all of these different tools in your kit bag.
That's it. Absolutely. I think when you're able to offer this choice, it's not only about opening more doors, getting out through more valuations. The 895 that we offer is that low price point, so you get through the cost conscious client. And I think Jamie and David will agree that whilst auction's not for every client, the fixed fee service isn't for every client either. But it's about, as you say, getting through more doors and also converting more clients. I say to a lot of our agents, if you can offer 3 different methods of sale, why is the client going to feel the need to have 3 different agents out? So we encourage our agents to talk about their methods of sale as early as valuation booking stage. Tell the owner of the property that you've got these choices. But also, it's not just about getting through more doors, it's about converting more valuations into instructions. So estate agents can sometimes struggle with that close and leave it a little bit open-ended. But when you've got 3 different methods of sale, it's a really nice close to conversion, because you're not asking the client, do you want to use me to sell your house? You're asking them, how do you want to use me to sell your house? And and almost as soon as they give you their preference for the service that they want, they've told you that they want to instruct you. So it's a really powerful way of changing your conversion conversation with clients.
Yeah, I mean, I'd go one further than that. It's all exactly true what you said, Mark. You know, the idea that why would a seller need to get any other agents out? I mean, in most instances, sellers still are getting multiple agents out, but it's that ability to stand out in that environment. So actually, if you're having a conversation with a vendor, which is you're not pitching, you're listening, you're understanding, and then you can say, right, there are a multitude of ways that I can help you. Let's go through them and let's see which one actually rings true to what you want from me, what's important to you in this transaction. And I think having a multitude of options only increases that ability for you to give the right advice, to be the professional, to be the local knowledge, but actually to really listen to that client and agree on a solution that just works for them.
I mean, that really hit me home. You're talking about 2 very honest options, but they are all ultimately internal options, aren't they, as well there? When we spoke originally, Mark, didn't we? What I loved about your pick was, look, you can obviously go in there and you're not like some of the onliners who say, testify this is the only model there is, or you don't have to then resonate and say, look, it's got to be the high street model or traditional model there. Talk them through it. Describe the advantages and disadvantages of each. Let them make the decision. They're then tied into that and have bought into it. But of course, actually, that's only even more true now, isn't it? Where you are widening that up, it doesn't really make sense to ignore what is a very, powerful route to market with auctions.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, some of the research we did recently into auctions, 47% of sellers would be interested in auction if they knew more, if they understood more. So that's 1 in 2 sellers would have an interest in it if us as an industry discuss it more, and to your point, really clearly get across the advantages and disadvantages, not just of auction, but of private treaty. Because obviously there are significant advantages and disadvantages of each, and it's about being true with the vendor, honest with the vendor, and allowing them then to make an informed decision on what is right for them and what lets them achieve their goals.
And being able to down the line as well. If one option didn't particularly work at one stage, of course, rather than lose to another agent, okay, that's not working in this market we've got here. We did talk to you at the beginning about that. Potentially we should have a conversation about moving to one of the other options.
Massively. I mean, to David's point earlier, one of the things that we always talk to about clients is about retaining business. A big area of what we do in supporting our network is when a property's been on the market for X amount of time, or their circumstances have changed, or they're potentially considering withdrawing because they want to go and try something new, that retention angle to say, well, actually, we've got another option. let's explore that and see if that's now right for you. So yeah, that's very much part of our offering for our own network, for our relationship with Love2Move. So that's what we're all about.
I think with most industries now, Simon, it's the one size fits all is not the way forwards. Different vendors have different motivations, and they want to see options. They want to see ways to do things differently. And I think that's where the partnership works so well alongside the private treaty offering. And it kind of makes you look at, when you look at how the markets worked previously, where it is that one size fits all, it starts to stand out a little bit, but that can't be quite right, because that, not every vendor you sit in front of is going to want to go down that one channel, that one route.
No, it's great. Somebody who clearly agrees, a man who's close to all of our hearts, the governor himself, Graham Wilson, 11 years with Iamsold, no brainer for many reasons you highlighted. It needs to be accepted into your culture. Once owners buy into it, the staff follow. David, you were always my favourite. He's getting a bit nervous.
Thanks, Graham.
Thanks, Graham.
I should let rather than allow the nutters on. But no, Graham knows a little bit about this stuff, doesn't he? So that's a great one there. This is the moment where I sprinkle rose petals over you with your reviews as well, guys. So review from Paul Clark of Hill & Clark here from Love2Move. The Love2Move team are also very helpful in trying to get you up, running and earning on their platform. They understand the reality of being estate agents, as that's what they are. Would recommend them service as an additional offering to you. But again, we can't stress that enough, can we, Mark? This is not you coming outside from the industry and saying, those bars from estate agents, they've had it too good for too long. We're going to take them down like so many other, frankly, dickheads have tried to do before. This is about you actually providing, just other options there, espousing the strengths of traditional agency, whatever else, and just giving you more options.
That's absolutely it. So it's sort of using our experience as traditional agents. We still have the traditional agency at Moving Work. Moving Works for a client of Iamsold, and it's using that experience that we've gathered over the last 20 years of running that agency to actually add an additional bolt-on. And Love2Move grew out of our desire to protect our market share and to protect our fee. Then, as this has grown, the three ways of selling has come, and we've introduced the auction into that as well. So we've got experience of pitching this sort of live in the client's lounge. We know how it should be pitched. We know how it should be pitched at valuation booking stage. And then I'd just like to add something that you're talking about, this, the different methods of sale and talking about it. Let's not forget that the Property Ombudsman does say that estate agents should be offering all different methods of sale. And I would say, the three, okay, we're private treaty as well, but it is a different option of doing private treaty. So I think a lot of agents should actually be having these discussions with clients, not just shoehorning clients. Oh, that client wasn't right because of this. I've been saying to our agents, clients don't tell you if they're going to go on the market with purple bricks. And so maybe some clients for Iamsold don't tell you if the house is going to be repossessed if they've not sold it in 6 weeks. So clients aren't always honest. So you've got to promote your different methods to everyone to allow you to, grow your business.
Do you think that's going to come more under the microscope? You're quite right. It is beholden to offer those, but it just seems to be that many people are just ignoring it. Do you think that will start to become more and more in focus, that you have to do that?
I think it will. And actually, one of the things that impressed us about Iamsold as we were looking at the different auction providers was their guidance that they put out very shortly after Property Ombudsman released this about auctions. And, this is how it needs to be done. It's done properly. We like to think of ourselves as a very professional company doing things properly. But yeah, to come back to your question, I think it will be. If we're going to a more regulated industry, and we're going to go long-term to an industry that requires qualifications, why can't we move more like financial advisors, where we do a fact find, we complete all of the soft facts, we talk about the client's needs, and then we recommend a specific service. So, auction is right for you because you've told me that you need to be in Scotland in 6 weeks. Love2Move is right for you because you've told me that you're cost conscious and you want control over your sale. Or it will still be the majority of clients. I'm recommending, our traditional service, percentage fee payable on completion, because of this reason. So I don't see why we can't move to a more advised type process as the industry does become more regulated.
Cheers, Mark. And I can see that David and Jamie are giving me evils because obviously if I didn't give them a shout out as well, that would obviously be unfair. So yeah, review here from Matt Hood. Iamsold, a fantastic team with a great work ethic. Having been a partner agent to them for over 5 years, our relationship has gone from strength to strength, supporting each other and offering our clients a great method of sale. There's far too many, obviously, of those for us to be able to shout about over the years. I think you almost won as many Supplier of the Years as me, Jamie, didn't we? Not to sort of ram that home, but
I'm saying nothing. I'm saying nothing.
Okay,
Yeah, no, can I just pick on Mark's point there, making reference to our best practice guide? That's something that we worked with the industry and made available to other auctioneers, because look, we know that auction isn't right for every seller. That's fundamentally true. But it's relevant to more than 2% that currently transact by auction in an annual period. Research we've done suggests that up to 30 or even 40% of sellers are non-discretionary, where actually they need to sell. To Mark's point, they've got to be in Scotland by X amount of time. And if we take time to understand the vendor's needs earlier in the process, we will tick that box from a compliance perspective that we're offering the right advice. We'll be clear about the advantages and disadvantages, but I think as an industry we need to do more of that. I think ROPA will help that, because it will actually highlight it to a lot of people to say, actually, this is the legislation that says you've got to offer the multitude of offerings to a seller and offer the right advice, rather than the status quo of private treaty. Because, you know, at the moment, what's it take to complete a transaction? 18 weeks, 19 weeks, something like that, maybe even more in certain areas. You know, there's massive delays. And actually, if you're in the front room with the seller to say, private treaty is great, we'll probably get you a good price because the market's booming, but it's going to take 20 weeks. And actually, in that 20 weeks, there's going to be a stamp duty deadline crash. And the chance of falling through is probably higher than the 30% that it has been historically. So, you know, it's I was
getting about the Australian. Clearly, there's a we've got there are differences, not least their inability to speak English, but actually human behaviour and human instinct is very, very similar when you get down to it, you know, a transactional basis. And there is absolutely no reason why we can't. Well, the gap between what percentage they do on auctions, or auctions as they call them, and we do there has to narrow over time, doesn't it?
It will do. I mean, it has to. It's about driving consumer awareness, which is something that's really true to us. What we're trying to do, obviously, we did a partnership with Zoopla recently, and that's a big goal for us, is to make more consumers aware, because all the research that we do says sellers would be more interested in it if they knew, and we're just not telling them. You know, shows like Homes Under the Hammer don't help because they tell a different story. That is the view of the consumer marketplace all too often, is that you sell a property at auction when you can't sell it anywhere else, and a buyer gets a deal, which is just so far from what we're about that it's laughable almost.
It's always like houses, isn't it? You know, you sell the very, very top end, or again the distressed stock, and that's just so out of kilter with the times we're in.
For sure.
So again, fantastic tie-up, guys. Look, Mark, you've been really kind already and given us obviously a kerfuffle deal, but I believe by being able to team up with these guys as well for IM Property members, you've got something even extra special you can talk about, haven't you?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a small joining fee. It's only £1,000 to get involved with our network. We've got 20% off for anyone that is recommended through Kerfuffle. We're going to give another 20% off for any Iamsold agent to reach out and join us, or have a discussion with us before Christmas. So now I think now's a great time for agents to be working on the business. So hopefully that extra 20% can, you know, just give them a decent saving.
Fantastic. Really good. Great for Jamie and David to have got that as well for their members. Absolutely great for you as a business. I think it's a genuinely really interesting tie-up. I'd love to, obviously, David, I'm sure you can bring back some clients when we got those in the future. Let's have some from them, because I think you're absolutely right, Mark. I've been banging the drum. Look, it's luckily it's not quieting off quite as much as ordinarily is, but actually we're going to get into that period now where you're going to be able to have a review for next year. What's your strategy? What are the potential challenges? They've got to have at least a conversation, haven't you? And just decide whether this is, because it's, as we said, low risk, no cost challenge there. Why would you not have it in your kit bag?
Absolutely.
Cool.
For sure.
Well, look, out to the guys direct, Love2Move, the I Am Property Empire, as we know, or just click on the I Am Contacted, I Am Interested button on Kerfuffle on their individual landing pages, and we'll forward those on and just mention you're obviously Kerfuffle members. Guys, fantastic tie-up. Best of luck with it, and I'm sure you'll have great times with it.
Thank you. Cheers,
Thanks,
guys. Thanks, Mark.